chest.
Okay,
about,
I think
about this game. So what were your initial thoughts? Like after the game ended, what was your first thought?
Okay, so let me give you the best point I've seen from the chat that's going to personify what we're complaining about. Go to Can't Get Right at 4:25 p.m. All right?
Right there.
Thank you. Can't Get Right. Thank you. Okay? Me and Bobby have been screaming about this since the preseason. Okay? When your play calling is so predictable, so basic, and just ineffective, there's no reason a team can't capitalize on you. I'm sorry. We almost 0% at one point in the red zone. What are we now, Bobby? Like 20%?
We listen. Going into this, so JD and Rock going into this game, the Patriots were 0% in the red zone. 0%. No red zone touchdowns. Zero. None.
Man, I can't even believe that.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
So, my problem is that McDaniels has not shown that he is an NFL level coordinator in the last 3 games, and in my opinion, not even in the preseason. We have talent we've spent millions of dollars on that we're not using. Can't Get Right made that point, and then other gentlemen throughout the chat, John Larson, Josh is overrated. Josh has been shown to be lacking when he doesn't have a quarterback on the field that can command the offense for him. Let's put it out there. Who runs the ball twice in a row, same play in the red zone, and expect a different result? 0 yards and then -7 yards. We're having negative yardage in the red zone. There is no excuse. There is none. I know, Bobby, you want to touch on this a little bit, but that's my point for that point right there.
Well, I think not only us, but a lot of Pats Nation has been pointing out the fact that there have been head-scratching plays from Josh McDaniels all over the field and all over the game, all throughout the game. The play calling in the red zone has been bad. The 2 runs with Bolden were a microcosm of McDaniels' play calling. And then so he'll do those 2 runs to Bolden, and then he'll throw some really low percentage deep poster, some low percentage throw, or the most head scratching ones are a bubble screen on 3rd and 16. You know what I mean? Like a bubble screen on 3rd and 16.
Yeah, no doubt. Yep. I see that a lot, and it's that used to work for the Steelers back in 2008, but no.
Okay, so a lot of things we talk about generally is setting up plays. We set up our players for success. That's McDaniel's job. You set up the game plan. You create a way to allow your team to have the best chance for success. All right? I don't see him doing that. I don't see it. You know what I'm saying? I am not seeing a game plan that's formulated around the run. And then once the run opens things up, we go to the pass. We're not seeing outlets for Mac Jones in case of emergency. We're not seeing running backs who are our most talented players making it out to the flat and just making a play. This looks so basic. It looks like D3 college ball. I don't even think it's that creative. I'm sorry, but this was one of the worst call games I think I've seen in a long time by the Patriots. Just anybody go back and look at the film. Was anything set up based on play action, passes to the running backs, using the tight ends during the whole middle of the field was open? They had no respect for our receiving corps. They had none. And you're going to tell me that you want to put blame on Belichick or the players? That game plan was terrible by Josh McDaniels. Thank you.
It was I don't think it's just me and you, Ross. I think it's a lot of Pats Nation, and I kind of been looking on Twitter to I've been looking on Twitter, been looking on some of the been looking on the Facebook groups, reading a couple, and I feel like a lot of Pats Nation is seriously calling into question Josh McDaniel's ability to call a good game now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then can't get it right again. It's a training camp offense. This is not an NFL ready team. It does not look that way. There is a disconnect between play calling and players.
Like let's be honest, right? What are a bubble screen on 3rd and 12? That's not. But let's be honest, right? That's not a high percentage. That's not a high percentage play to get that first. How about dragging a tight end across the middle of the field, or a cross route? With a tight end and a receiver, something to get those DBs to try and bang into each other and get a guy open. There's just the lack of creativity coming out of McDaniels has been a serious concern for not just the regular season. We've seen it all the way back into game two of the preseason. It was concerning, and it's not like it's become a pattern now. Once something happens more than twice, it's a pattern.
Mm-hmm. And let's go to you, JD. Did you get a chance to watch the tape from YouTube, the quick highlights?
Yeah, I've been watching it actually up and down, and what I would say is that it's an outside perspective, but I would say that there's a high. To respond to your take, actually, Ross, when you were talking about the receivers not commanding respect, without Tom Brady, I mean, the receivers barely commanded respect with Tom Brady. Let's be real. They barely commanded respect. I mean, you got Nelson Aguilar. He's an upgrade of what they used to have, what they had before, some random guy off that worked at Walmart. So I get that, that's definitely an upgrade. And that's how Bill Belichick was. He's like, all right, well, I have Tom Brady, so I'm going to use a guy that works at Walmart. So that's just kind of what he does. But my other question, and then I'll get into coaching really quick. But my other question would be is these tight ends that you spend all this money on, are they maybe they're not as good as maybe they're not working out. And that's my other thing.
No, I was waiting for you to say that. So here's the thing. When we have gone to our tight ends, okay, Hunter Henry, we'll use him as the first example. He has 5 receptions, 36 yards, 7.4 yards per catch. Okay, so let's put it that way. 2 of those, you got a first down.
Right.
They only targeted, and they only had on the day between Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, yet again, 6 receptions. They're not
JD to put that into perspective.
That's
right?
a game plan problem.
To put that into perspective, they are throwing. So they spent $87.5 million on the 2 tight ends, and in 3 games they have thrown to them combined in 3 games 13 times.
But they didn't want to commit any money to Tom Brady long term.
Well, they didn't have the money. There was no money left. He wanted an extra $40 million when you had $10 million. There was no shot. Tom Brady wanted a chance to leave.
It's just that fact alone, that you spend almost $90 million on those 2 guys to act as a massive security blanket for your rookie quarterback. And they're throwing to him, and they're throwing to them combined 6 times a game. That's not good. That's not good enough.
It's not.
Hey, can you bring up cool genuine Phil's comment from 434?
What a great throw from Fields to 16 there.
Yep, and it's the last comment. It's the most recent.
Oof. What a bad interception.
Yeah, I can't deny that, Phil. The only problem I have with on the Juno front is the fact that by the time they started actually using Jonnu, Mac Jones got hit 5 to 6 times.
So that's going to be a perfect segue into the next thing, right?
Yep. Thank you.
That's going to be a perfect segue into what we're going to get into next, right? We're going to talk about Mac Jones and his day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I've read a lot of articles. I've seen even a lot of the Patriots beat guys are saying it, that the All-22 came out for Mac Jones, and it was good. It was good. Everyone who watched the All-22, everyone who matters that watched the All-22 said that most of Mac Jones's decisions that day were good. And under pressure, he was great. Making the throws that he needed to under pressure, he was very good. The All-22 showed that this was not Mac Jones's fault. Now, me and Ross have kind of talked off camera, and I think, me personally, and this is just my general knowledge, my knowledge of the game, coaching it and playing it. I think Mac Jones had those four or five overthrows, because the offensive line, being as porous as it was, threw his timing off. You can't throw a deep ball if you have under 2 seconds for it, if you don't have 2 seconds for the deep route to develop. And I think he was having to throw those deep routes sooner than he wanted to.
Yep.
So basically he has to launch a football down the field and guess where he thinks his receiver is going to be before he gets absolutely crushed.
And that's a good defense. It's a very good one of the best, probably top 5. So it's hard.
Well,
so Ross, would you care to elaborate on that?
So here's my problem. We couldn't establish the running game, which is one of our Achilles heels. I understand that. We have a very talented running back core. If you can't get them started in the running game, but they didn't use them in the passing game either. Like, let's take a look at these stats. Remember the biggest shocking stat we saw from the Patriots game? Mac Jones was our best rushing person.
He was the leading rusher. Mac Jones was the leading rusher in that game. That's a problem.
That's 28 yards, and he had 4.7 yards per carry. 6 carries, 4.7 yard average. Okay, we go to Damian Harris, 2.3. We go to James White, 6.0 before he got pushed out of the game because a poorly called play put him on his back, and he had to get carted off the field. The problem is any designed run that was used in that game was not blocked correctly and was not set up correctly. I'm sorry, but when you saw a run come on field, you knew exactly what was happening. Oh, Damian Harris is on the field. They're going to run the football.
That worked with Tom Brady.
Yep. And we don't have Cam to show the option of the RPO and show any kind of creativity. So right now, we're running the most basic offense I think we've ever seen out of the Patriots. Cam Newton's offense at least showed dynamics. In this, it's just predictable. And I know Mac is a better down the field quarterback, but look at what's happening. Their line is porous. We couldn't establish the run. We couldn't set up pass protection. And then last but not least is anytime we tried to use the running backs off the edge, they couldn't set the edge. Like, we couldn't run sweeps. It was all a passing game, and you see what the results are.
Feel it. No, with that, it's like you got a young quarterback who has some promise, but then when you have this kind of, I would say that McDaniels, he might need to recalibrate how he approaches this position. He's so used to Tom Brady, and then before that, what was it? Tim Tebow and Kyle Orton. I mean, these guys are a lot older. Like, this is a younger guy. You gotta change it up.
Yeah. And here's another thing that's a glaring problem to me. If you look at our receiving section, okay, if you have some of the most talented running backs in the NFL, look at our 2 best running backs that didn't get used whatsoever. James White, 0 across the board. No receptions, no yards, no average, 0 touchdowns. Damian Harris, 2 receptions, -3 yards, negative 1.5 average. They're throwing to him in the flats and expecting him to make a play. That's what they did to him.
Like, yeah, where are the wheel routes and stuff in the middle of the field? You know,
please,
little.
There's just no. There's no like Jones is not getting any help from like anywhere, from his offensive line, from his coordinator, from anywhere. And I mean, let's be honest, a versatile back like James White, losing him to who knows how serious that injury is. We're still kind of waiting on the MRI. But if that's like serious, and he's gone for weeks on end, that's not good, because that means we don't have a pass catching. That means we don't have a pass catching back.
But we
like
do.
A true a true third down back.
Yep.
Looks like the same injury as Andy Dalton.
Yep. And here's the other thing. Because we've not used them in the passing game whatsoever. Not at all. How are you going to establish a guy if he can pass in the backfield, take passes in the center of the field or in strafing routes as a running back if he don't run the plays? Look at the thing that killed us. You know, Kamara, he was like, again, they used him in the passing game. They used him. Let's take a look at Kamara. All right, Alvin Kamara, 3.7 yards per carry. But look at this. Kamara in passing yards, 3 reception, 29 yards, but he was averaging 9.7 yards every catch.
Yeah.
If you added that to all of our running backs and how talented our running back core was, it would have been a different ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, like 20 plus points on
use the weapons you paid for. My God, just use them.
You have to. You absolutely have to. Otherwise, you look foolish.
Otherwise, it's a waste. Why would you? So I went and did my own kind of calculations on this, right? So on the offense this year, they've spent over almost $103 million on the offense alone to bolster it up and give Mac Jones help and weapons to work with, right?
Yep.
$103 million. Does this offense look like we spent $103 million on it? Not even close.
But let's put one thing in perspective here. Everyone's mad about them scoring these touchdowns and whatever. We held Alvin Kamara to only 89 yards and 3.7 yards per carry for 24 carries.
So let's kind of segue into the defense on that note, right? Right. Yep. So offensive kind of major points are that the all 22 proved that Mac's still, the potential's still there. He's still a good solid quarterback, and he can perform. The all 22 did show that. And it also put into it glaringly showed that the O-line has a massive problem, and the bland play calling is hurting this team.
Mm-hmm. JD, what do you want to make a comment on this?
You want to add anything to that?
Sure. I would just say that they looked pretty good. I mean, this is a good team. And I think that you're right, though. I think that they could be more creative. All 3 games, I feel like they were, like, as you said, you were there personally, and you thought it was bland, it was held back. That they should kind of just roll with it, man. Because here's the thing: what are they, 1-2 now? They're 1-2. It's not good. It's not good. You better start throwing it deep. You better start getting risky. And also, like you said, use your tight ends. You spent the money on them. Use them as much as possible. There's got to be plenty of plays where you can get them featured. And Mac Jones is accurate enough to get him involved. So I honestly, that boggles my mind why they haven't gotten them more involved. Like you just told me they only have, what was it, 60 yards between
13,
both of them?
13 catches for the tight ends in 3 games.
What is that? Come on, you get at least
3 games.
You can double that. You got to double those. You got to get those numbers up. You got to pump those numbers.
They should have that. They should have 13. They should have 13 catches
each
every game. Combined between the 2 of them every game.
No, I agree. I don't see why not.
Let's pull some things into perspective right now. We beat them in every statistical category other than rushing yards. Total yards, passing yards, and yards per play.
That's
The
interesting.
problem is we drove down the field on four separate occasions and came up with nothing. Nothing. There was four separate occasions that we should have scored a touchdown, and we did not. That's 28 points we left on the board. I think one time we actually did score, but that's not a good average. We're leaving points on the board every time. Look at this. We had 16 first downs. We had third down efficiency, which was atrocious, but we were 2 for 3 for fourth down efficiency. This is
Yeah.
a team that doesn't know itself.